The intent of this video is to provide a very quick overview of the Endangered Species Act. It's your first trip to Everglades National Park. As you make your way along a boardwalk, you see a wood stork resting up in a tree. You look down in the water, you see an alligator lazily swimming while another is sunning itself. As you're leaving the park, you see a blur run across the road. It's a Florida panther. All these interactions were able to occur thanks to today's Know Your Mission topic, the Endangered Species Act. On December 28, 1973, President Nixon signed the Endangered Species Act into law. In his signing statement, President Nixon wrote, "Nothing is more priceless and more worthy of preservation than the rich array of animal life with which our country has been blessed. It is a many-faceted treasure, of value to scholars, scientists, and nature lovers alike, and it forms a vital part of the heritage we all share as Americans." The Endangered Species Act, also referred to as the ESA, is one of the most powerful environmental laws passed by Congress. The purpose of the ESA is to protect and recover imperiled species and the ecosystems upon which they depend. Like any other laws, the ESA has multiple sections. In this video, we will look at how the law is structured and how each piece is a tool towards conservation. Under the ESA, species may be listed as either endangered or threatened. Endangered means a species is in danger of extinction throughout all or a significant portion of its range. Threatened means a species is likely to become endangered within the foreseeable future. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service works alongside the National Marine Fisheries Service, part of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, to enforce the Act. Together, these two agencies are referred to as the services in the context of the Endangered Species Act. Section 2 of the Act covers the findings and purposes of the Endangered Species Act and provides us with a bit of history regarding how the Act came into existence. The U.S. Congress found that some species of fish, wildlife, and plants are now extinct as a consequence of economic growth and development untempered by adequate concern and conservation. They also found that other species are in danger of extinction. Congress passed the ESA to provide a means whereby the ecosystems upon which endangered and threatened species depend may be conserved, to provide a program for the conservation of such species. Section 3 of the Act provides us with a set of definitions. For example, the ESA specifically defines conservation as to use and the use of all methods and procedures which are necessary to bring any listed species to the point at which the measures provided pursuant to this Act are no longer necessary. You may refer to Section 3 of the ESA to obtain definitions for other important terms, such as take. Section 4 of the Endangered Species Act covers listing, critical habitat designation, recovery, and monitoring. Basically the process by which species are added to or removed from the endangered species list. Section 5 and 6 discusses land acquisition and cooperation with the states in carrying out the Endangered Species Act, respectively. Section 6 recognizes the key role that states play in conserving and recovering our endangered and threatened native wildlife and plants. The Section 6 program, generally referred to as grants to states, provides funding to states and territories for species and habitat conservation actions on non-federal lands. Okay, so by now you're probably thinking, these are great ideas, but how do the services actually ensure that the law is being followed? This starts in Section 7 of the Act, which covers Interagency Cooperation. If you're a new biologist or have spent time around the service's Ecological Services program, you may be familiar with this section. Section 7 requires federal agencies to use their authorities to carry out conservation programs to benefit endangered and threatened species. Federal agencies are also required to consult with the Fish and Wildlife Service or the National Marine Fisheries Service to ensure that any action they authorize, fund, or carry out will not be likely to jeopardize the continued existence of a listed species or destroy or adversely modify designated critical habitat. As a result, federal agencies have a unique opportunity and obligation to assist recovery implementation by addressing threats that result from their programs and actions. Section 8 provides for international cooperation, primarily through the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, or CITES. This section provides financial assistance, encourages foreign programs, provides personnel, and conducts or supports law enforcement investigations. So, let's talk about Section 9, which covers Prohibited Acts. This section of the Endangered Species Act provides prohibitions that protect listed wildlife species from threats of take and commercial trade, and prohibitions that protect listed plants from threats of commercial trade, collection, or malicious destruction on federal lands, and similar actions that violate state law. Section 10 of the Act provides exceptions to the Section 9 prohibitions. Under Section 10, the service can issue two kinds of permits that allow limited take of listed species under very specific conditions. Section 10A1A permits authorize the take of listed species for scientific purposes or to enhance the propagation or survival of listed species. These permits cover intentional take of species. This contrasts with Section 10A1B permits, which authorize the incidental take of listed species caused by otherwise lawful activities of non-federal entities. To wrap up the remaining section of the Endangered Species Act, Section 11 describes the civil and criminal penalties for violating provisions of the Endangered Species Act, and the remaining sections 12 through 18 cover other miscellaneous materials. The intent of this video was to provide a very quick overview of the Endangered Species Act. It is likely no surprise that the Act itself is much more complex, but we hope that you walk away with a better understanding of what the document is and how it works. And be on the lookout for other videos in this series and training opportunities at the National Conservation Training Center. Thank you for watching.